There's this huge space between us, and it just keeps filling up.
Hello, John. I need your expertise.
I think I can get 2 hours to kill.
The target is a direct threat to the firm.
You've gotta be kidding.
You said in an interview that this film is, in a sense, a combination of all the films I've ever made. What did you mean?
Well, you know, I made a film called Rabbit Proof Fence, which is about kids who were growing up in an institution. That appears in this movie. I've made spy movies in the past. You know, it's got a little bit of everything, of every movie that I've made. But I think that's sort of true of every filmmaker. You sort of keep returning to the same themes. In my case, it's a fascination with spies.
How dare you come into this office and bark at me like some little junkyard dog? I am the President of the United States. How dare you, sir?
I've always been fascinated with spying and spies because my father was one during the Second World War, and I grew up on stories of subterfuge, assassination, sabotage, and so on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Morning, Charlie.
They might just get the town back on its feet.
Please, God, tell me I have not inspired something burgundy.
But they're comfy.
Sex shouldn't be comfy!
Acclaimed British theatre actor Chiwetel Ejiofor, who has been called the finest Othello in a generation, found that fitting in a big-budget Hollywood film was not as difficult as it seemed.
You got me.
She had the drop on me. Why didn't she shoot?
So how does a celebrated stage actor who has been called the best Othello in a generation fit into a studio product like Salt?
It turns out quite easily. I loved the script and was very excited to come on board and work with people that I hugely admired, Phillip, Noyce, and Angelina Jolie, and Liev Schreiber. It was a great experience and great fun. I think really great characters, very interesting script, very unique, and it's very fast-paced, but with this real foundation within the kind of paranoid thriller genre that I think is exciting and interesting.
Is it a different set of muscles than what you use on stage?
Yes, it is. It's a kind of there's on stage you're looking at a much sort of longer term commitment in a way, even obviously on the evening of doing a 2.5 hour show or something, a 3 hour show, and taking an audience on this journey, and then in the run of the show doing the same piece again and again takes a different kind of muscle than the film muscle of sort of selecting little pieces and repeating them maybe a few times in any one given moment, but then they're done, and then you're moving on to something else. So it's a very, they are obviously very related, but they are very distinct ways of working.
Now, at one point in the movie, you get really violent with Angelina. When you were shooting that, was it scary at all? Did you think, if this connects, I'll destroy the most famous cheekbones in the world?
Well, yeah, that does go through your mind, yeah, and is a slight worry, but you're hopeful that, in fact, this is one area that theatre training is very useful, is in any kind of combat sequences, because I've always been very used to doing that, because in theatre, especially the most violent theatre being Shakespeare, because there's so many wars and battles and killings that go on in all the Shakespeare, or a number of the Shakespeare plays, that you actually end up being quite skilled at fighting, and so that's kind of helpful. You're able to judge distances between fist and face quite well.
Are you a man?
I am, love, yes.
Just so I know how to leave the toilet seat.
Now, your mother said on the record that she doesn't see you as a Hollywood person.
She did say that, bless her. Yeah.
Would you agree?
I've never completely figured out what she meant by that, but